Every day we make choices about how we spend our time, and those daily choices shape the life that we live. Annie Dillard once said, "How we spend our days is of course how we spend our lives." So imagine if your days were filled with more intention, more purpose, more beauty, and more presence for the things that really matter to you. And instead of feeling constantly distracted and caught up in the noise of the world, you could cultivate a sense of calm and clarity. Well, by the end of this video, you're going to be able to start doing just that. I'm going to share with you 3 daily rituals that have been so transformative for me. They've helped me reduce my screen time, to live with more intention, and to bring more ease and flow into my life. And if we haven't met, hi, I'm Lucy, and I'm here to help you live by design, not distraction. So let's dive in. This first ritual is what I like to call coffee and intentions. Picture starting your day in a cozy corner of your home with a warm cup of coffee in your hands, the morning light coming in your window, the world is still kind of quiet. It's a bit like having a morning date with yourself, and it's a really lovely way to start your day without any screens. It's just you, your thoughts, and maybe a beautiful journal. Is anyone else a complete journal and notebook addict like me? I used to really struggle with scrolling on my phone in the morning. It was such a default thing for me, and I'd turn around and realize I've lost an hour of my morning to stuff that I don't even remember, and frankly, isn't important. And not only that, but it was wasting my morning energy. I don't know about you, but my energy in the morning is my best energy. So I needed to shift things around to make sure that I was making the most of that. And as soon as I switched up this habit for this coffee and intentions ritual, I soon found that I was getting so much more joy and energy and focus that I just wasn't getting from my morning scroll. And this really taught me that to overcome certain unwanted habits, swapping it for something that brings me so much joy makes it so much more effective, and you're much more likely to stick to that new habit rather than reverting back. You've probably heard people talking about romanticizing your life, and that's exactly what I do each morning with this ritual, and it's become my favorite part of the day. I genuinely get so excited for it when I wake up in the morning. So let me walk you through how this morning ritual looks for me. Well, I start by brewing my favorite coffee, and I have one of those drip filters because I refuse to change to anything quicker because I love that slow and intentional moment. But obviously you don't have to drink coffee. It might be that you prefer tea or something else instead. But once that's ready, I sit in my favorite spot where I can look out the window and I take a few moments just to breathe. Then I open up my journal and I write down my intentions for the day. And I always try and have one of them be an intention for how I want to feel that day, because I think that's a really powerful way to prime yourself for the day that you want. And I also just quickly jot down 3 things that I'm grateful for, which starts my day on a lovely positive note. And this ritual really makes a huge difference to my anxiety levels and my mood. And I really notice the days that I don't do it, because no, I don't manage it every day. I am not perfect, but it's definitely reduced the amount of time that I spend scrolling and getting distracted in the morning. And it also means that I'm starting my day with much more purpose and much more joy. And I also encourage you to have a dedicated space for this in your home. A little pocket of your home that feels cozy, that brings you joy and that's beautiful. And before we move on to the next ritual, I have a little something for you. If you're feeling inspired to dive deeper into reducing distractions and living with more intention, I've created a free time clarity journal, which is a guide to help you reclaim your time, let go of distractions, and to redesign your days around what matters most to you. It's filled with exercises to help you start living with more intention and less distraction. So if you're ready to swap the noise and distractions for more peace, more joy, and more intention, make sure to grab your free download in the description box or the comments below. So on to the second ritual. This ritual is what I like to call mindful tech time. This is about setting aside specific, intentional pockets of time during your day to engage with certain digital tasks. And essentially, it's just the same as task batching. So instead of your day being peppered with all these random moments of checking your phone for emails, text messages, or scrolling on social media, you know exactly when you're going to do those things. And you're going to do them in one intentional chunk. Because it's not that we don't want to do those things or to get rid of them completely, but in order to live with less distraction, we really need to become more intentional and to set better boundaries around when and how we do those tasks. So for me, I tend to set aside 10 to 15 minutes each lunchtime to check, label, and respond to emails. And depending on your own inbox, you might want a bit more time, or you might want to split it into 2 sessions during the day. So let's take Instagram as another example. I don't know about you, but I find it so easy to drain my time on there. But I now have this ritual which keeps that sort of more contained and more controlled. So after work each day, I spend 15 to 20 minutes just on Instagram. And that's my personal Instagram time for the day. And I can enjoy it fully for those 20 minutes because I've set that time aside intentionally. And the key is to actually schedule these mindful tech moments. So whether you use a paper planner or something like Google Calendar, actually start scheduling these rituals so that the rest of the time they're out of your head. This way, when you're engaged in deep work tasks or doing something that you love, you don't have these constant distractions vying for your attention. You've ring-fenced that time when you're going to engage with them. And you'll find that your mind doesn't feel so pulled in all these different directions. It's quite a freeing ritual to implement. And sometimes these rituals will change and they're going to look different for everybody. But it's about setting those boundaries and being more intentional with your screens. Trust me, it makes a world of difference. So I challenge you to think of just one thing for now that you do on your phone or that is just a big distraction for you that you could set aside a certain amount of time for each day in one mindful tech moment. You could use the examples that I gave earlier, or you can choose your own. But give it a go for at least a week and see how it goes. And let me know in the comments how you get on. The third ritual is the night before ritual, and this one does double duty. First, it prepares you for the following morning and sets the stage for a smooth and intentional start to your day. And second, it serves as a gentle signal to your mind and your body that it's time to start transitioning into your pre-sleep wind down routine. It's kind of like being your own fairy godmother, making sure that everything is ready for your coffee and intentions date the next morning, and essentially looking after your future self. It's about setting yourself up for the next day with intention and going to bed with clarity, because you'll know that everything is set up ready for you the next morning. Your evening routine is your morning routine's best friend. So here's how it works for me. Every evening, I make sure that everything is set out, ready for my coffee and intentions ritual. I set out my journal, I make sure that I've ground enough coffee, and I get out any supplements that I take and all of that stuff. And I even try and choose what I'm going to wear the next morning, because it just gives you that really smooth transition into your day. And you might be wondering, what does this have to do with reducing distractions? Well, does this sound a little familiar? You wake up in the morning and you realize you've run out of coffee or tea, and you've lost your journal, or your clothes are in the laundry. Suddenly, you're in a scramble and you're starting your day on the back foot. And you could still do your morning ritual, but this would make it so much harder. And when something feels difficult or requires a lot of effort, it's incredibly easy to fall back into the easy trap, which can often be things like scrolling on our phone or starting the day in a distracted state. One of the best ways to change your habits is to make the habit that you want to do as easy as possible. And by having everything prepared the night before, you're reducing the effort needed to go about your morning routine. And that makes it much more likely that you'll stick to it and you won't get distracted. You're setting yourself up to start the day with more intention and purpose, and it becomes much easier to stay consistent with your morning ritual. And the other benefit of this ritual is that it acts as a signal that it's time to wind down and start preparing for sleep. So this is always my first step in my screen-free wind-down routine. It kind of acts as that transition, and it takes 5-10 minutes. And after that, I'm able to just relax and know that everything is ready for me the next day. So it gives me that sense of peace and calm. So give this a go. Spend 10 minutes each evening being your future self's best friend and setting yourself up for your morning ritual. And let me know how you get on. So there you have it. 3 daily rituals that will help you to live with more intention and less distraction. And don't forget to download your free time clarity journal if you want to dive deeper into reducing distractions and redesigning your days around what matters most to you. I've popped the link in the description box and the comments below. Remember that this journey isn't about striving for perfection or completely eliminating distractions. I'm not sure that's even possible, but it's about making small, consistent changes that align with what matters most to you. It's this consistency that creates the biggest change in our lives. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. I'll see you next week.